Hey everyone, it's your girl BF Glenn with DMV's Barber Talk. I am talking today to Dorian Purnell. He is a amazing CEO and nonprofit organizer. He's doing amazing things not just in the barber community, but within the local community. So listen to how Dorian drops the jewels on how he is making his impact within the community, not only here but in Atlanta. So let's talk barber talk with Dorian Purnell on DMV's Illest Barbers. Okay, so today we are here with Dorian the Groomer, Dorian the Barber, who is also an author, who is also a CEO, president of a nonprofit, DJ, just absolutely amazing in the DMV area. And so, Dorian, if you could first tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the barbering industry.
All right. Like you said, my name is Dorian Purnell. I'm actually from the Eastern Shore. Um, I moved into the DMV about 10 years ago. But I've always had a strong passion for barbering. Even though I leaped out on faith in 2011 when I opened my first shop. I used to be a correctional officer for 12 and a half years before that. But barbering has always been what I've always loved to do. And I started when I was 13. And so I'm 47 now. And since 2011, I took it full head of steam and I've opened up a few shops. I had two shops on the Eastern Shore. I had a shop in Atlanta for a year. I co-own a shop in Crofton now. So yeah, it's always been a part of me to do that. I love making people feel good, look good, and all the stuff that come along with it. So
If you don't mind me asking, I've dipped and dabbled in various professions also. And then it
mhm.
always ultimately led up to what I knew I was born to do, write and edit. But before that, it was just a whole bunch of different directions. So how did you end up, if you were barbering at 13 and then you went to become a correctional officer? Tell us about that journey and then how you got back to barbering.
So I never went to a barbershop to get my hair cut. My dad used to cut my hair in the kitchen. And when I was 13, that's when I experimented on myself, started cutting my friends, and it became something that I love to do, but I didn't realize it then. I just like to experiment with things. But as I got older, and every job that I had in between, I went to college for 2 years. Barbering always was something that came back to me. Like even when I was in the dorm, I was cutting guys in the dorm. Then when I had a job at Walmart for like a year and a half, I was cutting all the employees at Walmart. Left from Walmart, then I became a correction officer. As I was a correction officer, I was cutting all the other COs, and they would let me cut some of the inmates, and I was looking over some of the inmates as far as when they would cut other inmates. So it always was something that stayed with me and never left me. And then I went to my first hair show in 2007, and I used to always be afraid to tell people I wanted to be a barber because, that's never the prestige profession. Oh, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be this, that, and the third. But my parents always told me whatever I felt was right and felt comfortable within me, then do it. So I went to my first hair show in 2007, and that's when I seen hundreds and thousands of people with the same mindset as me. I'm like, oh, so this is not strange. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never been around. I never had somebody to take me under their wing to be like, hey, let me show you this, let me show you that. And I was like, when I came back from that show, I told my friend who went with me, I said, I'm gonna be up on that stage teaching one day. And he was like, you think so? I said, I know so. It was I just felt it. And literally when I speak something, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So I came back and I put my 2 week notice in. I stayed at the jail for like another couple of years, but I was like, once I get my license, it's a wrap. And I literally did it, opened my first shop up on the shore, and I haven't looked back since.
I love that. I love that. What was that like? What was the struggle in the beginning to take that leap? I know you said that when you see something for yourself, you go for it. You see it, you want it, you get it, right?
hmm
But what was that journey actually like? Was it easy, effortless, which I know it wasn't. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that journey.
So actually, when I first opened the shop, so I'm real strategic on what I do. So when I opened the shop November of that year, I kept my job for 6 months. I kept the correction officer job for 6 months. So I was doing both. So I said, okay, I'm gonna figure this out, and as I keep doing it, I'm gonna save, see if I can make a living off of what I make cutting. So being real strategic. So I was booked at my shop that I opened up on the shore. I was booked every day. The first day after I put my 2 week notice in and left the jail full time on a Friday, nobody came in my shop. I was like, all right, okay. God, I know you're playing around, but all right, I guess this is a little joke. But
Right.
nobody came in. Literally the day before, I'm booked. Friday, now I was doing all walk-ins then, but Friday, that next day, when I was literally, my job was in the shop, nobody came in. I'm like, all right, this is a little joke. All right. So of course, doubt gonna crawl in your mind, and it's like, all right, I always say you take slow moments and make them grow moments, because even at that moment, you're thinking like, okay, you gave up all the stability to follow your heart and your passion. It's like, did I make the right decision or didn't? But I literally just stayed with it, pushed, I was grind, and Instagram and stuff wasn't really out like that then. So you really had to go. I'm the type of person, I don't like to. I'm sort of like an introvert, so I'm not going to be like, hey, come get your haircut, come get your haircut. I've always believed in growing from within your circle. So if I already have 10 clients, those 10 clients have a circle that they're connected to. So I know word of mouth and your performance will speak louder than anything. And so I just kept growing and growing and growing. And like I said, I've always been the type that if I see it, I'm gonna make an effort to go get it. And just, it's not gonna be because I didn't try. So I had that much faith and belief in myself to make things happen like that. So it was a struggle at times, but it the minute you start doubting yourself, you got to sit back and reevaluate some things and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? You got to look in the mirror, because that's where half of our problem is in the mirror. We got to look in the mirror and try to reevaluate what we did or didn't do that we could have done better. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I really resonate with that. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm
Hmm.
going through a transition in my life. It's a good transition, but it's a transition nonetheless. And sometimes the transition in the beginning doesn't look like how we envision it in the end.
Hmm.
And it's that slow growth. So thank you for that. And I know a lot of viewers can relate to that as well.
Yeah. I was
Um,
called dumb. I was called crazy. Oh,
mhm.
I don't see how you would leave a job like that. But I can't, my vision wasn't for you.
Right.
And one thing I always tell people is that I always use the analogy as far as prescription glasses. Like, you can't wear my glasses because my glasses are too strong for you. You'll get a headache. You can't see, but I can see out of them clear. So everybody has their own vision, and they got to follow that and really, trust it, and don't
Absolutely.
overlook it.
And I know before we started recording, you were telling me about, you have a nonprofit and you're working in the schools. And so I'm assuming that where you are now is not where you're going to end up. Tell us a little bit about where you are now, talking about the nonprofit, talking about the schools, and
Mhm.
where you see yourself.
Actually, where I'm at now, okay, I'm working in the school system, um, as an effort to bring my nonprofit through the school system to become a vendor. I've done back to school events for years. That's how my nonprofit started out, as an initiative. But over COVID, myself and my cousin were talking, and we were like, we got to make this thing really big. So let's make it a nonprofit. And then the heart and the giving is already there. It's just making everything solidified with IRS and everything else. So it's not changing the vision up. It's still, it's called Fade for the Grade. So what we do is, we inspire kids, to take pride in their appearance as they are striving to be great young adults, no matter what it is that they're trying to do. So I don't harp on the college thing. I just want people to tap into their potential. You know what I'm saying? And the way that society is set up now, the way that the school system is set up now, everybody's judged by a number, a grade, a score. When you got a lot of great kids that just aren't great students. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. And they can be good hands-on, but they just can't get that book work to where the state needs them to get it to. So what we do, we talk about we had different initiatives, fading out bullying. We talk about financial capability. We talk about we have initiatives about cancer, everything, but we lure them in with the haircut. Once we get them in the chair, and that's how it is in the shop. Once you build that trust in the chair, we can talk to you and get you to do anything we want because you're going to start feeling good about yourself. Our slogan is, it starts from the neck up. So that's what mental, that's what physical, everything starts with your mindset. So if we can help you look good, and we all know how that makes people feel when they look in the mirror after they get service, then they start to feel a certain way about themselves. Then they tend to open up about anything. So we feel that, hey, if we can get a group of kids, and we talk to the parents as well, because we know it starts from the head, it starts from the parents. They're only with us maybe a couple of hours out of the day, but you're going back home to your parents. So we can also shift that mindset into the parents. It's a whole well-rounded, initiative that we just taken it, and we're going to make it worldwide. We have a branch in Atlanta. We have a branch here in Maryland. But the goal is to have almost every state having a national Fade for the Grade day, like just giving back to the kids and letting them know, hey, like, we're in a judgmental society, and we take the I always say a headshot and a mugshot are the same thing with two different meanings. A mugshot catch you at your worst. A headshot, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to be your profile for the most positive thing. The mugshot is the profile for the negativity. We want to chop that out. So that's just a piece of it.
I like that. So it's Fade for the Grade.
Fade for the Grade, yep.
Fade for the Grade. Can you spell that for our viewers and tell the viewers how someone would want their child to enroll into the program?
So we have it's Fade for the Grade, FADE, the number 4, THE, GRADE.org, fadeforthegrade.org. And the whole about section, all the initiatives are on the website. You can just click there. You can contact myself along with my cousin, who's my VP. And we just tend to try to, no matter what the situation is, we try to make it happen for different communities. I have a mobile barbershop as well. And you'll be able to see the pictures on the website. So, in the summertime, we would go drive around and make different stops. Of course, we would have it all planned out at first, but we go and make different stops, go through and cut 10 or 15 kids, roll on to the next city and do the same thing. And we teamed up with Aetna last year. They were a sponsor for a lot of the things that we did. So they believed in us, and we work on a lot of other different sponsors as well. Hopefully try to get Under Armour, UPS, Walmart, Target, all of those different organizations to tap in as well.
I love that. And so you're a 503c. And so what
501c3.
What do you guys need? Like what can people help with to help make sure that your nonprofit is successful?
Well, what we're big on is we like to give out hygiene packs, because being in the school system, you see a lot, so anything that we don't have like a specific list of what because we just know anything can help. That's all we're here about, impacting and inspiring the communities, period. So if people want to donate hygiene packs, people want to, for guys and girls. So of course, school supplies, which we know the schools are overloaded with those. So we try to come at a different angle. We try to have events other than beginning of school, because we know everybody's doing everything in August, back to school, but we like to catch you off guard and do something in November, do something in January, all throughout the year. I'm teaming up with Thomas More Catholic School as well. We're gonna start our grooming program with them. That's a Christian school in DC. I've talked to the principal and just shooting ideas out, and he was like, hey, they're gonna have a grooming program where they can get kids in to come to their school by offering, hey, this is one thing that we do for our young men, so that's something that the parents won't have to worry about. So it can all work work together for the good, no matter what it is, because we got the heart of giving and servicing the community, and it's all about the kids. So,
Absolutely. I really like that. And I have a 10-year-old son. And so I'm looking at all of the areas that it would benefit like somebody like me. So absolutely.
and you never know if your son might want to, because we do training too. Because
Wow.
like I said, I started at 13. So
Yeah.
the goal later on, just say 10 years down the line, all of the kids that we were cutting, teaching them how to cut, now they're doing all the cutting for kids.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now we just facilitating. Hey, you guys
Yeah.
go over here. You guys do this. We got
Yeah.
all the young kids cutting the kids. Like,
I
and they
like
always have a
that.
trade. They have a trade in their pocket.
I like
Even
that.
if you want to go to school, be an engineer. When he's on campus, I guarantee you he'll have a pocket full of money. And it's not all about the money, but we know what it's about.
We know what it's about. Right. I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, may I ask, are you a father yourself? And if so, how did you work around navigating your businesses and your family?
Well, as far as being a father, I don't have any biological kids.
Okay.
So, but I know growing up, I've always been the father figure to a lot of kids. I've always coached basketball, football. I still have, parents reaching out to me now. Hey, can you talk to my son about X, Y, Z? Because we know that kids don't want to keep hearing the same thing from their parents, but that somebody else can come in and say the same exact thing, but they'll listen to
That's,
them.
that's true.
And it's not a knock on the kids because and that can be with anything. It's just, oh, mom telling me about this too. Oh, dad, you didn't already told me about this. Okay, well, let me pull somebody else in to tell you the same thing. And I can tell them the same exact thing with a different tone. And it's gonna be a little stern because I come from my mom was a teacher of 37 years and she was an old school teacher. Now I'm going to get on you, but it's all out of love. You know what I'm saying? And kids are always been receptive to that. I guess that's a blessing and why I didn't have any of my own because I could always branch out and be the figure to everybody else. And
Yeah,
I know that's my purpose and my passion. So, it all goes together,
I
which
love that.
inspired me to write my book. Yep.
I was just about to say that. So your book is titled "I Am Worth the Wait."
Yep.
WEIGHT. There we go. There we go. Tell us
Yep.
a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about the
So,
book.
let me pull it back because I know it's focusing.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
called I
There
Am
you go.
Worth the Wait. Yeah, there we go. I Am Worth the Wait. Basically it's self-explanatory, but this is about me. So I've always played sport. Let me get this zoom right. There it is. I've always played sports. So the image is of myself, and then it's had me playing basketball and then football. But it's basically about it's a self-confidence building book. So I've always been a heavy kid, but I didn't ever let it stop me from doing what I wanted to do. So I've always played sports with the push of my parents and my brother. Um, they've always given me, I've never been bullied. I've never been, talked about. I've always learned to use my size as my advantage. You know what I'm saying? So, my dad used to always, enforce and talk to me about appearance and things like that. Like, so he he told me, as a kid, two words shouldn't go together if you're a bigger kid. And I'm like, what's that? He said, you shouldn't be big and sloppy. He said, because you're going to be looked at already, you're going to have a strike against you in everybody else's eyes. So you're going to have to take control of yourself. Don't walk around here looking like anything. He said, and then, you'll feel good about yourself. And that also went into the barbering aspect. 'Cause like I said, he used to cut my hair as a kid. So he used to sit in the house. He was a plant worker. He worked at Campbell Soup and he wore uniform all week. So when I would see him on a Saturday, dressed up in a cardigan sweater or some slacks, nice button up, I'm thinking we're going somewhere. Dad, where are we going? Nowhere. Why are you all dressed up? He said, just because I don't have money in my pocket, I don't have to look that way. He said, I wear a uniform all week. So, I want to feel good about myself. And that stuck with me. Like and that literally resonated with me because I'm like, I can't go outside the house looking any type of way because I'm already a big kid, just at the third. But going back to the book, I talk about I put it in as, getting bullied by kids, but I had the support of my parents to keep pushing me. I meet a friend who's a short kid who succeeded in basketball, and I talk about dyslexia in the book.
Good.
So it can target any audience.
Is that because the dyslexia is personal or
Mm-mm,
okay?
mm-mm. I knew I had to touch everybody.
I love
And
that.
I know that a lot of kids battle with that,
Yes.
and they feel embarrassed or they don't know how to deal with it. So their storyline is pretty unique. So you know, I meet a girl in class, she has dyslexia, but she succeeds, get A's and all of her tests and things like that. So it's all about that motivation. You
I
know,
love
no matter what you're going through, it shouldn't stop you.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't
And
stop
your
you.
mom, you said she was a teacher for 37 years. What
Hmm.
subject did she teach?
She was a third grade. She taught third grade for the first half of her career. Then she went up to fourth grade. So she was
Oh,
just a general, yeah,
right,
elementary school
right,
teacher.
right,
Yeah,
right. I forgot
yeah,
elementary school is you teach
yeah,
everything. Bless you.
yep, 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 yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
It's different. It's different.
oh gosh. Well, that's really good. That's really good, and I like that. Now, where can people find the book?
The book is on Amazon. If you type in my name, the book will come up, or if you just type in the title, and it's also being sold at barnesandnoble.com as well. Or if you want to order a book directly from me, you can contact me and I can get the book shipped right out to you. So,
I love
yep,
that. I
yep.
love that. And I wanted to also touch on your DJing skills. So we've already talked about, you've had various careers which all ended up touching barbering in some way, somehow, touching
Hmm.
people, helping to inspire. That seems to be your life's path, is really just diving in and helping people through the art of cutting hair.
Hmm.
Okay. But then now we're going on another side, and you have this
Oh,
DJing situation. Tell us about.
man. So and as I look back, it all come back full circle. Now I've only been DJing. Um, I literally started DJing last April.
Good. Congratulations.
And
Mhm.
that was so the reason why I said come back full circle, during COVID, I started I started to do a little split screen podcast thing called Must Be the Music. I did a couple of interviews with a couple of my clients that are heavy in the industry that connected, really connected. COVID came, you know, and I never thought about being a DJ ever. But I've always had the little DJ apps on my phone, you know, on the iPad, you know, where you can scratch and do things with it. Last March, I found out I had cancer, prostate cancer. So um, I called a good friend of mine up, DJ Wiz. He lives on the shore. He's been DJing since '78, and it just hit me one day. I'm like, you know what? I wonder, because I was playing on my phone with it. I said, I want to really feel what it's like. I called him, asked him, what do I need to get? He told me. He said, oh my God. He said, anything you touch, you know, you go all in with it. I'm like, well, I just want to, you know, I just want to play around with it. So I bought some things, and I love music, and I've always loved music. But going through the surgery that I had, going through everything, playing on these turntables brought me through it.
Oh,
It got me through it. Like it was it peace of mind where, you know, I had surgery in June. I was out of work for 2 months, and I was like, you know what? This is it. It really helped me get through. Now, I said I started playing with it in April. I was on I'm on a station now, and I've been on that since September. So I've only been DJing like 4 or 5 months before I was able to be on a radio station. Never thought about doing all of that, but if an opportunity fall in my lap, I'm gonna seize the moment and do it. So my good friend that told me about DJing, he said, "Hey, you ready for the radio?" I no, I'm not. He was like, "Nah, just you just play once a week on I play for an hour, and it's a globally syndicated station." I'm like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah." Talked to the owner, and been doing that ever since. So I love it. Like I it's I and they another good friend of mine told me I have what they call uh gear acquisition syndrome, gas, because any new thing I'm trying to buy, like I want to, especially with DJing, but I'm like that's how I was with my barbering. So any new tool that came out, I wanted to test it out. I wanted to see how it was because that was my passion. Like I wanted to succeed and work at it. So, you know, not I don't know how far this DJing thing gonna take me, but I love it.
right,
It's therapeutic. It is therapeutic. So,
right.
and it's not work. So anything you do that you love is not considered work, and you'll never retire from it
Sorry.
because that's your purpose. So once your purpose and your passion match up, life is golden at that point.
Absolutely.
So,
I love that. And may I ask, are you in remission or are you
oh,
still?
cancer's gone.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Surgery. I had the surgery and it was removed. Everything was done. The doctor told me, he said, you would not die from prostate cancer. So
Okay.
one thing I want to talk about,
Go ahead.
men and women, but men, get checked out. I had no signs. I had no symptoms. My dad had prostate cancer back in 2014, but that's when I started taking charge. Say, you know what? I need to get checked. I didn't have no symptoms or no signs or anything. And when they found out I had cancer, that was only because I couldn't get an MRI because mentally the claustrophobia. I never knew I had claustrophobia, but I'm like, I can't do it. And they were like, well, my numbers were creeping up a little bit, but not into a cancerous range. So they had to do a biopsy. That's the only way they found it. So, everything happened for a reason. And I just use that as another testament for me to talk to my clients. And through that, I was able to, like, 4 of my clients started getting checked because of what I went through. So once again, making an impact on somebody's life and inspiring people, letting them know, hey, just because you're going through one thing, that don't have to stop you. Just keep looking forward and pressing on. But we got to just start taking care of ourselves. So, and as Black men, we don't do it.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
They say that a lot of men actually, they won't do it for themselves. So they say, like, people who have someone like a spouse or girlfriend or something, they usually live longer because it's the girlfriend or the wife that's making all of the appointments and
Exactly.
of it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm glad that you were
Yep.
able to share your story
Yes.
and just encourage, people to really go get checked and take it seriously,
Mhm.
especially knowing it's curable. So it's not something
Yeah. Right.
you and just, leave it alone. You can go
Mhm.
ahead and, have a success story like yours if you just are.
And that's one of the initiatives in the nonprofit is fading out cancer. And that was before I even found out. Like, so all of this stuff is just, it's when God sprinkles stuff on you, you just gotta absorb it and take it and just figure out why you got it, why this happened, and make the best out of everything. So,
That
yep.
is beautiful. I love that. Well, we are coming to a close. I wanted to ask you one more question.
Mhm.
If you can give advice to the younger Dorian, what
Mhm.
would it be?
The younger Dorian. I would say be bold. Um, don't put a ceiling on your sky. Um, make sure you treat people well. And also, you know, try to make connections any kind of way that you can, because I think it all goes together. If you treat people well, it comes back around and it might not happen today, tomorrow, but when that good thing happened to you, it's because of the energy you put out. So I'm big on energy, reciprocation, and whatever your purpose is, you can't do things. You got to do it because it's for the betterment of you. So no matter what it is that you're in position to put somebody else in a great position, um, giving them advice, doing whatever it is you can do for them, just go ahead and do it because it comes back to you, and that's why we're here. We're here to help people out. We're here to share what we have that's given to us for free. So, yep.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dorian.
Mhm.
I really learned a lot in the short amount of time that we spoke,
Mhm.
and you have blessed me without even trying. Because, like I said, I'm going through a transition myself. It's good,
Mhm.
scary, but it's necessary to
You need
hear.
it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Mhm.
necessary
It's
to hear
needed. Yeah.
the advice that you dropped
Yeah.
today. So, thank
Mhm.
you for spending time with me. Thank
Thank
you
you for having me.
the podcast. To the
Yeah.
viewers, make sure that you check out everything that Dorian has going on. Dorian, are you active on Instagram? Or what platform
Yeah.
can I find you on?
Yeah. Instagram. You go on Dorian the Groomer, and then my DJ page is DJ Blends, but it all goes together. Facebook. Dorian the Groomer Purnell. So if you just type in Dorian the Groomer, it should come up. You can Google me, and all of that stuff will come up too. I just found out. So Yeah. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. You guys, please connect with Dorian. Please connect with his nonprofit and Four Seeds
Hmm.
is that. And if you like videos like this, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe and share. Dorian, thank you so much for your time and